Right, we're going to kick off the next Matchbox build with this one here, Monty's Caravan, with the Daimler Scout car. So this is like the slightly bigger versions that you could get from Matchbox. So there's two kits in there and a little diorama. Again, nice pristine Matchbox kit, which we are going to build. These are this one's from, where's this one from? From 1983. So this is when Revell had the molds. So it's a slightly different design on the back of the box. You don't have the clear window anymore. Like I say, this is a late production 1983 kit, but again in really nice condition. We'll have a quick look inside, so we'll start cutting some plastic and start gluing pretty sharpish. Again, typical Matchbox, nice, clear, clean, very little flash, hardly, well, no sink marks of any merit that I can see on there. Again, look at the diorama base, big diorama base for that, because you're going to have the retriever, the Leyland Retriever, which is the truck with the Monty sort of Caravan on the back, his little work from home office, if you want to call it. So you can set that up there with the Daimler Scout car. It comes with other things like some barrels, and you can get some barriers that you put up. But if you look at the details, so that's like the chassis of the Retriever, very nice, very clean. There's, you've got your three figures there. So you've got Monty there, giving directions to his generals. So they'll really set the diorama very nicely. Again, that's most of the sprue for the Retriever. Well, there's the Daimler Scout car there, but really good, excellent moulding. You have got some sink marks there, but you're never really going to see it. We'll go, nothing else of note to find on the back. Again, it is nice that we're talking from a kit from 40 years ago. They've even put the numbers on the inside of the parts, which you won't see, but that really helps the younger modeler build them. We have the transfers, as I will continue to call them. So these will be the Revell ones, but they look pretty good. And they'll be usable then. Instructions. Typical Matchbox, but printed by Revell. Nice and easy, simple instructions to follow. A nicely complicated little build for the Daimler Scout car. That really is the highlight of the kit for me. And we are going to go with the Germany one. So Monty's Caravan. So it's obviously in Germany in 1945. So we're going to go with the green one. We could have gone with the desert one, but I think I've built two desert finished kits: the Wasp, whatever, and the Humber Scout car. So we'll go with this one. Right, let's start cutting some plastic. Right, so after an afternoon's leisurely build, we end up with this, the typical Matchbox looking tricolour, straight from the box build. So what we have here is the Retriever, Leyland Retriever. I've left the roof loose, so I can, after I've painted it, I can put some glazing in here. It's probably perspex or plexiglass used to be in. We'll put some glass in that, and the same for the driver's windscreen, so we'll glaze that up once we've done it. So I built up as much as I can, which makes it easier to paint. Obviously, like I say, the roof is loose, but that just pops straight back in. So that's nice and easy for that. Again, left the driver's canopy off, so it's easier to paint and install later. Or it's easier to paint the driver's position, I should say. The little Daimler Dingo, what a cute little thing, built up nicely. I did make an error myself. The little fenders on the back, I got them mixed up left to right, and I think I've done that before when I've built these. I've built quite a few of these, and I think I've made that mistake before. It's my fault, it's not the instructions. The instructions are pretty clear. So we end up with a very nice little Daimler Dingo. So that's going to get painted up. I've left the three figures on the sprue. It's going to make it easier to paint. There we go. So I've cleaned them up, and we'll give them a prime. The little barrels have been made, cleaned up, so that's nicely done. The little wooden barriers, so they're made as well. The ladder for the entrance and exit into the caravan's done, and the base is glued together. So next course of action is to prime the whole lot. I'm going to give it a blast over with this, and then we're going to start painting it. Now, to paint it, I think I'm going to use Revell enamels. I know there's kind of really old school using them, but I like using them for like small things like this. And I'm going to have a slight variation colour between the body and the canvas, just to give it a bit of interest. Like I say, we are going for the green colour. When painting small things like this, I would suggest making the colours a little bit more vibrant, because if you went fully olive drab, washed it, dry brushed it, it would kind of kill it. So something this small, try and keep it a bit brighter, add a bit more interest, and well, let's crack on. Let's get some primer on it, and then we'll see what we can do with the top coat. I'll do the vehicles first, then we'll look at the figures and the base. All right, let's crack on. I thought we'd give you a quick look after what the priming session has done to the models. So that's a quick blast over the grey, nice and smooth finish on that. Look at that, nice. It'll take a top coat nicely. That's the base all done as well. That's the colour I'm going to go for, Revell 363. Let's fire up the eye water, fire up the airbrush. Let's get some colour on this. So for now, I'm just going to concentrate on the Leyland Retriever and the little Dingo. The rest I'll put out the way for now. All right, let's get some colour on. Hello everybody, I thought I'll give you a little update of where we are with Monty's Caravan. It has been a few weeks since I've been on the modelling desk, but here we go. I've already cracked on, painted his Caravan and the little scout car. I've used Revell 363, just straight out the tin, cellulose thinners, blasted on with the airbrush. Yeah, I'm persistent with Revell enamels at the minute. It's what I've got, and they seem to work quite well on the small stuff. I do use other paints for other things, but future videos, I'm sure I'll show you what else I use. So we've gone with the base coat of that. We've picked out what I would call sort of like blocked in. I have done like the tyres, the seats, steering wheel, basically things that aren't green. Again, tyres, internal parts of the little Dingo. There we go. Then I did give it a little airbrush, a little weathering with a bit of again Revell 82 and a bit of mix of 85. It's a little bit left in these tins, so I thought I might as well finish up what I've got, and you know, waste not, want not. Once they're done, I'll hide them away. So I've airbrushed, as you can see on there, a bit of dirt around the underside of the truck, you know, where I would gather just dirt coming up from the road. Probably gone a little bit heavier than I wanted to. I don't want to overkill the blocked in colours. The problem with smaller detailed, smaller kits like this 176 scale, you can swamp them with weathering. So what I tend to do, I would build the model, base coat it, a bit of weathering, blocking the colours like I've done there, and then I would put the transfers on. You can put the transfers on and then weather, but it tends to like, you might lose all those details on the transfers. So that's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to put the transfers on. So we're going for the European Theatre of Operations. Oh, just another thing, if you see on the roof of the Retriever there, I've airbrushed a little bit in there to fade it a little bit, but when the weather and the dry brushing comes along, you'll see how it all blends together, and it all comes together quite nicely. So transfers next. They look okay, I'm sure they'll be fine. So if you look on the instructions, you'll see where the layout of the transfers are. Best thing I'm going to do, or the thing I think is the best thing for it, is just a little dab of this on the areas where the transfers are going to settle down. That'll give a nice little gloss coat. I'm just going to put it on with the brush because it's self-leveling. It's such a small model anyway. So I'll put the transfers down. Once they're dry, sometimes I'll give them a little blob of that. If it doesn't quite look right, I'll go and give them a blob of that. That's really, you know, that's really aggressive stuff. But usually on the small scale thing, nice gloss coat, transfer down, a little bit of that, and they settle down quite nicely. So we'll crack on with that next. It's a bit boring watching someone putting transfers on, but what I'll do, I'll put the little gloss coat on, and then I'll put the big American star on the back of there, and we'll show you how I do that. Right, okay, I'll put a little gloss coat on, and then we'll come straight back and put a transfer on. Right, here we go. So we've got quite a nice little shine on the back of the little Dingo there. So we're going to put the little the white star, the recognition star, on the back. Very important in if you were touring around Europe in mid-1940s, I'm sure. You don't want to get shot by the wrong side. So I've cut the transfer off from the rest, and I've basically just dabbed some water on it to make sure it's nice and free. There we go. So we've got a nice bit of movement on there. So this is what we do. I'll get my tweezers, pop it on there, try and get it nice and lined up as per the instructions. Now there's a few raised areas on the back of this the Dingo, so this is when the micro set will the micro saw will come in handy. So we'll just try and get it lined up as best we can. There we go. A bit more across. Been a bit pedantic, but never mind. Oh, didn't see that. So there we go. More or less where I want it to be. Get a little bit of microsol, paintbrush, dab, 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 and put a bit on. Probably a bit too much there. Try and get all the air bubbles out. Double check the it's straightened up nice. Straightened, yeah, making up new words here. Yeah, I'll go with that. So we'll let that dry. We'll see what it looks like. If it needs another go with a decal solution, transfer solution, I'll use the Deco products, the more aggressive one. But I think that should do it for now. So we'll let that dry and we'll come back and see what it looks like. And if it's fine, we'll continue with the rest. Right, so we've got the transfers on. They went down okay, not perfect. I've had much better ones from Matchbox kits before. I mean, they're okay. The green has faded a bit on some of the symbols, and I haven't got any of my spares box, but otherwise they've gone down fairly well. Not perfect. There's a bit of carrier film, so I'll have to deal with that. I'll sort that out. And a bit on the back, so I might have to go for the old Deco full strength red label transfer solution. Yeah, so I'm saying this is like a Revell reboxing, so we've got Revell written on the back there. So this is obviously when Matchbox didn't own them anymore. It wasn't Leslie products. So the transfers are slightly different than what they usually are, or the quality I should say. I have used transfers from 1973, original Matchbox boxings, and there've been no problem whatsoever. They've gone down really well. So that's where we are with these at the minute. So a recap: base colours on, other colours blocked in, seats, etc., guns, tyres, slight bit of weathering's been done, and the transfers have gone on. So the next course of action is to give the model a wash. Just on an interior, I'm not going to bother painting that because I will put some glazing in there, window effects. I'll show you how we do that as we get later in the build. But for now, it's time to put a wash on it. So this is my own wash that I've just made. It's just made of oil paints and white spirit. So you see it's quite thin. So all we do, just pick a side of a model, put a bit on there, and we'll watch what happens. So the capillary action should take it into all the joints, and with the aid of a dry brush, that will help lift the detail. So as you can see how it just runs nicely into the detail. Don't overdo it too much. So if it like sorts to pool, just get rid of it just by dabbing it with a brush. I'll just give you an example. So if you put too much on there, just dab the brush and just lift a bit off. You just want it to sit into the recesses like there. I'll put one on the wheel there, so you can see how that just nicely fills in the shadows. Right, I'll continue to do that on the rest of the model. I'll have to sort those transfers out first, but you can see the effect you get. It's very difficult to do because I'm like looking around the camera. Right, so I'll crack on and do that, and I'll show you what they're like when they're finished. Right, hello everybody. Right, this is the effect we've got after that wash. It looks okay. It's a little light for my taste further higher up. It looks a little not exactly what I was after. So what I've done, I've mixed another colour but a little bit darker. So a little bit more lamp black in that. So that's raw umber, a little bit of lamp black, and a teeny bit of Van Dyke brown. So I'm gonna do that on the bottom of the truck. So around the rope areas down there, and certainly around the wheels and tyres, and around these areas inside the cab as well. Just add a bit more definition. Maybe a little bit on the window frames, but I'm not going to put any in the canvas because I'm quite happy with the brown effect that it's got. I say with a nice dry brush and a matte coat of varnish, it'll come up really nicely. But obviously I want a darker wash for underneath, and around the more grimy areas, certainly wheels and tyres, like to see a bit more definition there. So like I say, I've mixed up some new mixture. Let's dab it on and see what it looks like. And again, let the capillary action do the work. So that's a nice darker colour. Don't want to go too mad with this, don't want to overwhelm the model, but it gives us a nice definition between the wheel and the tyre. So I'll go along the rest of the model, just a bit more pin wash, picking out the bits that I want to do, not the whole model. So like in the rope area there underneath the canvas, it'll give a nice shadow effect. So this is more selective wash than the brown wash, which is a bit more of an overall wash. So I'll continue to do that, and then we'll see the results when I'm finished. We'll come back in a minute. And this is the result we get with a slightly darker wash at the bottom. So you can see it gives you a nice gradation of like dirt from the bottom, so it gets like dusty at the top but the more gritty in the bottom. Gritty in the bottom doesn't sound nice. Anyway, what we're going to do now, we're going to give it a dry brush to try and lift the highlights and lift the detail, especially like the ropes and bits and bobs and the tarpaulins. We'll really bring those to life. So we go to our trusty buff titanium. Again, massive tub of that, jar of that, bottle of that, whatever you call this, tube, that's it. Ordered off eBay, and like I say, no, off Amazon, and obviously you can't tell the size on Amazon, but that lasts us quite a while. I use a number 8 brush, which is huge, but works for me. So it's major brush size, number 8. So this is what we do. Probably showed this before, but I'll show it again. So I basically just bang the brush in there, just load it up with this oil paint. We basically need to get as much as that off as possible. So on the good old kitchen roll, and so just work it into bristles. We really want to get it so there's hardly any coming off the paintbrush at all. Remember, we are working on quite a small scale, 1/76 scale. Too heavy a dry brush will just overwhelm it. But we're going to give it a dry brush, as light as possible. Then we're going to give it a coat of matte varnish. Then we're going to get some more detailed paintwork in there, and probably another pin wash of oils, but dark, really dark in the specific areas to give more highlight and more depth. So you see it's starting to come off and there's not much left on there. Do it again, see what we got. This is like a test to see what effect we get, and there's still, I can still see it coming off, so I still want to get rid of that as much as possible. The less you've got on the brush, the better. You can always load up and do it again. Right, we'll have a go at that. We'll see what that looks like. So we'll start with this. So basically just want to work it over the surface lightly at first, and you'll see it starts picking up the detail. So we can see that. And on the wheels and tyres, gives it a nice uniform look, ties everything in together. So to pick the tyres out nicely there. So this is really simple old school technique. Got to go a bit careful, otherwise you might knock some of the parts off. Occupational hazard, I suppose, and you can always glue them back on. But you can see how that lifts the detail straight away. I say a very old technique, tried and tested. Works well, works really well, and that's the sort of effect you get. See how it's lifted the detail straight away. That looks excellent. We'll do it on the tarpaulin as well, so that might give you a better idea. It's got a slight sheen on this, but it'll obviously go once I give it a coat of matte varnish, and it'll tie everything in together. It'll bring everything together. It's quite difficult to see under the light with a slight sheen on it, but you can see how it really lifts the detail. But that's what we need to do: go around the whole vehicle and on the little Dingo scout car. But you can see how that has a nice sort of like dusty appearance at the bottom, like it would on the roads. It would pick up dust and mud on the bottom, and it would fade out as it got near the top. And the dry brush just helps that. So I'll probably give it another dry brush later on, and I'll probably, if you like, flick it up from the bottom there, you get a better sort of gradient from lighter and darker, and it ties it all together. So we'll do that for the rest of the vehicles, and we'll come back and we'll see what it looks like, and then we'll go with the coat of matte varnish and do some more detailed work. Right, we'll give you an update of where we are. I've done a bit of work away from the camera, so I'll just briefly run through what I've done, otherwise this video is going to go on forever. So these are the little details that you need to pick out to really lift your model. So the things that I've done, I've painted, if you look on these little roll up the top all into the little straps there, painted them a slightly different colour, and given a little wash either side, which is Citadel Agrax Earth Shade. So that's right from Wargame and stuff. So that's what I've done with there. Now I've gone around with green as well, the original green colour, and the dry brush sometimes blanks out these sort of raised details. So you've got to add a bit more green. So I put the green back in the middle there, just dabbed it in there. You can probably see on these raised bits to give it a bit more detail. Otherwise it would just be a complete highlighted part of the model, and you really want to give it a bit more interest. So these are the little things that you might not see when you look, but it gives an overall appearance of a well-detailed, nicely painted model. Just lifts it a little bit more than your average model. Not that I'm saying this is above the average, but you know, I'll just give you an idea of what I've done to it. So I've gone around with little bits of green on there as well, and on there, just to like give an impression it's been handled, someone's opened it, wiped the dust off with the hands when they've opened the panel, etc. Also, where the driver steps in, it's gone green in there. I've put a bit green in there, and then a bit silver to give the impression of a worn step. You can see there as well. Again, it's minor details that make all the difference. Again, on this side, a bit of a scratching on the step there where someone's been in and out, jumping in and out, and a bit of sort of green on these bits here. It's as if someone's like scuffed it when they've got up and down into the cab. Other details that I've probably done, I've ran around the tyres again with thin down black paint, thin down Revell enamels, and then given the whole model a slight dry brush, very light dry brush. So if you've followed what I've done several washes, several dry brushes, and sort of built layer upon layer to give you this sort of effect. So the cab's looking quite nice as well, highlighted the seats and low lights as well. The steering wheel, which is I've painted with semi-gloss black, because that's going to be pretty dry all the time, or pretty clean I should say, with the driver's hands. The front's been done, the grill's been washes inside that, the headlights have been done silver with a wash on them as well, and a little highlight again. When I'll give it a coat of matte varnish. When I've done that, I'll touch in them with a little silver pencil just to give it a highlight, and I might put a little silver pencil on the crank handle there. But that's basically where we are. That I'm happy with that. It'll go and get a coat of matte varnish shortly. That's on both sides. So you can see what I mean by highlighting the green again in the. It's hard to explain really. So when I dry brush that, it pretty much blanks it all out as a light colour. You put your green back in, and it gives you sort of more of a 3D effect. So that's that. Similar with a little Dingo. I've ran black paint around the tyres, done some highlights inside the cab, or inside the driver's and co-driver's compartment. And you can see if it's a bit closer there. So it's a very small model, this, mind. And put some highlights on the Bren gun. But this is all going to go in for a matte varnish, and that'll flatten it all out, tie it all together, and you can see that on there as well, the highlights and lowlights. I have started doing bits and bobs for the base, the barriers, the barrels, and I have started doing a bit on the base. Now I'm going to go with light greys and dark greys on the base. That's going to be a lighter grey, that's going to be like a marble type effect. And this will be like red, brownish rubble, and we'll tie it all together. I'll brush paint all of this, then I'll airbrush dirt and bits and bobs in, then dry brush and some washes. So we'll get back to that. But in the meantime, like I say, it's the little details make all the difference. I'm going to give it a coat of matte varnish, and then I'll show how to install some little windows. and that'll tie it all together. Put the roof on, put the cab on, put the windscreen in. That's that one done. All right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, we're almost done with the build on the vehicles. Only thing I'm going to do now is do some aerials. I've shown people how to do it before, but I'll quickly run through it again for those who haven't seen it. Bit of sprue. This is from a Revell Spitfire, the 1/32 scale kit, which is something of a challenge. I'll tell you that much for nothing. But anyway, it's a bit of sprue cut off, the frames. Lighter. Now be careful with this. I usually do it with 2 hands, but obviously this is what we do. Just heat up the sprue, turn it until it starts to droop a bit there. Then basically pull apart and twist. And the faster you twist, the thinner it gets. And get that in focus. So we can cut some nice aerials out of this bit of sprue, and we'll put 3 aerials on the vehicles. 2 on the Dingo and 1 on the Retriever. I think it's got aerials on. I'm not sure if it has or hasn't, but it certainly had some interest. So we'll cut them to length and put them on. Okay, and then we'll paint them green. Job done. That's the vehicle's done pretty much. Right, I very cleverly cracked on and put the windows in without actually recording it. So I've done a little video that's not even going to be uploaded because I forgot to press the record button. But basically you can see the windows and the windscreen on the truck. It basically just clear plastic, clear acetate, glued in from behind with some like wood glue, something like that, some clear drying glue. So it's as simple as that, and you get a nice windscreen effect on the back door as well, and on the windscreen. So you can see I fitted the aerial as well. I fitted the aerial on the truck, and the truck is complete. Quite happy with that. Same with the Dingo, put 2 aerials on that, and that's complete as well. Coat of matte varnish on it, and a little bit detailed paintwork on the Bren gun, the barrel, doing the aluminium or the light stainless colour, whatever there was, and a bit of work on the woodwork, the stock and the handle to change the barrel. So that's that done, and I've cracked on and just done the base. Fairly straightforward. How I painted it was, when you paint bases like this, paint it as if you, right, this might sound a bit strange, as if you're painting a painting, if you're not painting a model. So you want to get more of a painterly effect. So on your palette, you put, basically this is made out of 3 colours, black, white and grey, and a medium grey from Citadel paints. So I've blobbed them out on a palette and just put them on, and a bit of water, melded them all together. Slightly different colour on this rubble here. Picked out details, whatever these are, whatever that is. The drain as well, if you look at the drain, put a little greenery around it, so some moss or some grass growing around it. I didn't go too over the top with it. A bit of rust, a bit of wash on the track with a slight silver pencil highlight. The barriers, black and white, standard, classic. The statue, whatever that is, just a light grey sort of marble effect. Like I said, I haven't gone too mad in weathering the base. I'm quite happy with that the way it is. Just a closer look there, you see the rust effect on the track. Whether it's metal or not, I don't know, but it just adds a little bit of interest. And the slightly discoloration on the rubble over here, slightly contrast with the cobbles or the flagstones. So this was kind of like given a heavy wash as well, of oil wash, or like a dark brown black oil wash, then a nice light dry brush over the top of it, and it gives you really nice depth and texture. So I'm quite happy with that. So we are pretty much done. So I'll bring it all together. Oh no, I haven't. I've got the figures to show you. So I've painted the 3 figures there, Montgomery and a couple of his generals. The figures are okay. Not the best painting, but it gives you the gist. So it's a base colour, a light wash with Agrax Earthshade from Citadel, thinned down a bit, a dry brush. Again, the faces, if it'll focus in that close. So that's had, what colour was it? 2 seconds, I'll show you what colour it is. Oh no, I can't actually get to it. So it's just like a flesh colour with a wash on it, and pick out the highlights. They're quite nicely moulded, them, but Montgomery not so nicely moulded, but that'll look quite nice on the base, so that's enough. So let's bring it all together and let's see what it looks like. And here's the end result, and we're all finished. So thoughts on this? It's a lovely little kit from Matchbox. You know what you're going to get with Matchbox. It fits really well together. There's no flash. Nice little diorama. Gets the imagination fired up. Monty's Caravan. Who else is going to do that? Well, I think ICM are going to do one in 35th scale coming up shortly. But that's the vehicle done. The little Dingo scout car done. The little diorama complete. I'll put some pictures up and a little spinny thing at the end of the video if you want to have a nice close look at some detailed pictures. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll move on to the next one. What could possibly be next? Well, a little quick preview. I'm going to buy 2 Matchbox Messerschmitts 109s. I'm going to build one straight from the box without any paint on its stand, and the second one's going to be painted and fully weathered up as a modern kit. Right, thanks for watching. Let's see what this looks like with some close-up pictures. Thanks for watching again.